Hey guys, welcome to Teaching Modern Architecture. Today we're going to speak about the vestibule space in the Villa Savoye by Le Corbusier, and specifically a small, seemingly innocuous table that Le Corbusier places near the building entry. Now my interest is less with this table itself than a more general, high-level strategy of thought that we can use when we're attempting to understand and interpret an architectural space. The idea is that once understanding this method, you can then take it and apply it to your own work when you seek to understand how it's working. I'm going to propose that designing architectural space is about orienting your architecture on an axis between providing no freedom at all and total freedom to your visitor. Designing space is often about finding a happy medium between these two extremes. That happy medium between no freedom and total freedom is guiding. As an architect, you are suggesting. You are making a subtle suggestion to the visitor about either use or experience or both. You are not forcing the visitor to use the space in a certain way, nor are you providing total freedom. You are guiding. Of course, sometimes there are situations when a visitor has no freedom in a space. One example is a circulation corridor. If someone is in a corridor, there is no option other than going forwards or backwards. As an architect, there is no gentle suggestion to make in a corridor. Now, by contrast, an example of total freedom could just be something like the exterior of the Villa Savoye, this vast empty lawn. This is total freedom for the visitor. This is the complete and total absence of architectural intervention. It's just empty space. When we're attempting to understand a space and interpret it spatially, it's useful to consider its higher level ideas. What is the building doing? What is it trying to achieve? And from that, we can deduce how its elements are working to try and achieve that greater idea. Villa Savoye is often referred to as a temple to the modernist movement. Le Corbusier himself was excited about the possibilities that modernism had, and encouraged others to embrace modernism's attitudes and technologies. He felt that doing so could heighten modern man to a new level. This heightening of modern man occurs, both spatially and metaphorically, on the circulation ramp, which travels from the ground level to the garden terrace to the solarium roof. Given that Le Corbusier seems to place so much value upon the circulation ramp, we can read the space and the architectural elements within the space as supporting the intentions behind the circulation ramp. In other words, Le Corbusier wants to get people onto that ramp. One of these elements that can be read as supporting the circulation ramp is the small table that immediately greets a visitor who enters the building. We can see that the table doesn't really have a very profound functional purpose. Perhaps someone puts their car keys onto it when they enter through the front door or through the garage. It doesn't do much else. Instead, it is fair to read this table as being a spatial element. One way to understand how a space is working is to consider the invisible projection lines that are being suggested by a space's physical matter, i.e., the physical architectural elements. Looking at the projection lines of the table in the plan, we see that the lines point directly towards the circulation ramp. And because we wouldn't be able to physically circulate underneath the table because it's just so short in height, we experience this small table as something like a small wall. This is how we can understand the small table, as an architectural element that guides the visitor's circulation towards the ramp. Notice that the table also achieves a second spatial purpose for those entering the vestibule from the garage. If we extend another invisible projection line off the table, this time projecting a different edge of it because we are oriented in a different way within the space, we see again that the table helps to guide the visitor towards the ramp. Now, just so you can see what I mean, I've removed the table from the plan drawing to illustrate my point. Imagine this space without the table. The architect is taking a risk that the visitor strays to the right, perhaps into this nether region of space on the other side of the column. Or imagine coming in from the garage and the small table is not there either. Again, the architect is risking the visitor drifting into this nether region of space on the side. The visitor is captured oriented and guided towards the intended experience. The visitor is not allowed to drift, to float, to stray. The visitor is immediately guided along the intended path. And that's the key word, guided. As an architect, you provide guidance. You provide subtle suggestion. Now you may be thinking, well, okay, come on. This is just a small, tiny thing. And that's exactly correct. It is a small thing. You are making small, subtle suggestions of how to move through the space. You are offering subtle guidance. That is what the management of spatial experience often is. Managing space is often not about making bold, strong moves or obligating a visitor to circulate in a certain way. Managing space is also about guiding. Architecture is often about suggestion. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, please feel free to subscribe to the channel or give me a like. I also do architectural tutoring and essay writing help, so if you're interested in something like that, just feel free to get in touch. See you soon.